In this video we will get to know Visual Studio as a programming tool. At first glance it might look a little confusing because there are different menus and windows here, but when we are done with this video you will have a better understanding of how Visual Studio works. You're not going to learn everything about Visual Studio in this video because of course we can't teach everything in one video, but you will know the basics after this video so that we can start programming, and then later along the way you will get to know the tool better and better. So if we look at the left side here, when we open up Visual Studio, we have something called Recent. And Recent is a list of all projects that you have had open in Visual Studio recently. So when we're done with this video, you will have a new project under Recent, and it will simply make it easier for you to reopen old projects when you open up Visual Studio. Here in this area we have something called Open, and we can click that to navigate to a new an old project that we have had open earlier that isn't under Recent, for example. So let's say we worked on something a year ago and we would like to reopen it. Then we can click the Open button and navigate to it. In this area here we have something called New Project, and it's a shortcut to be able to create a new project. So if we click the Create New Project button, it will start and help us create a new project. So the thing is, we can click here, Create New Project, or we can go to File, New, and select Project here, Control-Shift-N. It's exactly the same thing. This menu up here will be the same as clicking here, because this one down here is a shortcut to this one. So you can click one of these two buttons to create a new project. I'm just going to click this one here. When you have clicked the New Project button, this window will show up, and it will give you some options for creating different types of projects. Make sure that you have selected under Templates Visual C# so that you can see all the options for creating projects for C#. Right now the one that we are going to focus on is called Console Application. The reason that we're starting with Console Application is because Console Applications are a great learning tool. But don't worry about it, we will create some Windows Form applications later, but for now we will stick to Console Applications so that we can get the basics down before we move on to more advanced stuff here. So just select Console Application. So before we click the OK button here, we will have to select a project name, a location, and a solution name. So the first one here is the name of this specific project. You can name this whatever you want to, but remember to give it a name that makes sense so that you understand what kind of project it is later when you need to reopen it. So I will name mine in scope, if I could spell, 01_01. And the reason that I'm using that is because this is video 1.1. So I know that this project here belongs to video 1.1. So you would need to select a project location. As standard it will put it in your documents folder on Windows, but for now I'm just going to put it on my desktop right here. So I'll move this later on, but for this tutorial purpose I'm going to put it on my desktop. Maybe you have a folder somewhere where you want to put all your projects, so remember to put it somewhere safe where you can find it again. The last thing we have down here is our solution name. As you might have noticed, when you wrote your project name, the solution name changed to the exact same thing. But the thing is, a solution is not the same as a project name, because a solution is some kind of a headline or something for more projects. And that's right, because one solution can have more projects in it. And that means that I'm going to create a main solution here, and in that main solution I'm going to add more projects onto it so that all projects for this course series here will be under the same solution. I understand it's a little hard to understand what a solution is right here just by looking at this, but I think you will get a better understanding when we start creating the project. So because this solution is going to contain all projects for this course for me, then I'm simply going to name it in scope. You can name it whatever you want, but I'm going to name it after the course, of course. So when you have found a name for your solution, you can click the OK button. And then Visual Studio will create your project. So when you have clicked the OK button, you will be presented with your new project, and it should look something like this. Maybe you have some other colors because you selected another theme and everything, but in general you should see something like this. So let's take all the windows step by step or one by one here. In the right side we have something called a Solution Explorer. The Solution Explorer shows your solution and all projects under that solution. So this is here the names that we used before when we created a project come in handy. As we can see here, solution name is in scope, and that's the last name we added before. And under in scope, we have in scope 1.1. So this is my project. So this right here that I've selected is the project level. This up here is our solution level. So as you can see, we can add more projects under the solution. So when I go to the next video, I will create a new project called InScope 0102, and it will be placed underneath here because they are both under the same solution. So this makes it easier for me to have all projects together that belong together. So to get a better understanding, we can also try to look at the folder structure. So if I right click here on the solution level and I go to open folder in File Explorer, then it's going to open up the folder here. As you can see on the upper level, if I go one back to my desktop here, I have InScope as the outer folder, which is my solution name, right? This is the name of the solution. If I click on it, then I go into the solution and I have one project here called InScope 0.0101, and that's the project name. And that means when I add more projects, all the projects will be placed in this folder under the solution InScope. Over here we have the solution file, and it has the same name as the solution, as you see. So project name, solution name. And if you would like to reopen this, let's say that we close down our project and everything, well, we can reopen it by going to Visual Studio and opening recent, or I can navigate to this folder I have here and double clicking on the solution. And then it will reopen the project for me like this. So that was how you could open with the solution file. If we close it down and we say Visual Studio, open it up here, then you'll see now, because you have had some projects open, under recent we have InScope solution here, so you can just click that one to open up the project as well. So that's two different ways that you can use to open up the project. So that's what I wanted to do in this video, just get an overview of Visual Studio. In the next video we will look at some more things here in Visual Studio, but these are the basics of the tool that we are going to use. So thank you very much for watching. Thanks for watching my video. Please remember that InScope Studios is a community founded page, so please consider clicking the support link on the screen to see how you can support me and get something back in return.